Hey guys, it's Ken here, hosting another episode of YMS versus the Internet. On this episode, I'm going to have my favorite Hulk versus. So we're going to go ahead and go onto Google, type in the search bar, Hulk versus, we're going to see what pops up, and then we're going to discuss about these different characters. Let's go straight into it. Alright, first up is Hulk versus Thor. This is an interesting matchup, both characters being extremely strong, but we're going to go ahead and skip this one only because the new Thor Ragnarok movie that's come out has made nothing but Google have everything to do about the movie. So we're going to skip this one because there's no real arguments going on the internet. So we're going to go ahead and skip over to Hulk versus Doomsday. I'm already triggered. Alright, so first thing on the list here we have Hulk versus Doomsday, Marvel versus DC, the death battle on YouTube. Alright, so let's talk about that one real quick. Honestly, Screw Attack does a good job with what they have going on. They have a good setup, they know what they're talking about most of the time, and there's really no reason to bag on them for anything, because I watch their stuff, it's always entertaining, and who can be mad at that? It's good stuff to watch. However, I have to disagree with them on a couple things that they have in their video on the Hulk versus Doomsday. First of all, Doomsday doesn't have instant adaptability to whatever has killed him. Yeah, he will adapt to the amount of force, pressure, or maybe even heat that had previously killed him, but it's not going to be after a while once his body has regenerated and his body has renewed itself to be able to adapt to that force, that whatever killing factor had put him down previously. Also, they like to say that the human body can only produce so much of X chemical to keep it angry for so long. And that's fine. A human can only do that for so long. But if we start taking factors that encapsulate a human and then give that to the Hulk, well then we've kind of downplayed the Hulk a lot, because the Hulk doesn't have human strength. He has crazy amounts of strength. So he's not going to have human levels of X chemical that keeps the body flowing in an infinite rage. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, anyone who's ever seen or looked into Planet Hulk knows that the Hulk was able to stay in that state for at least 2 years. So I don't think that chemical has anything to do with his ability to maintain that state. Or, another thing that they pointed out was his healing factor. His healing factor is not subject to this specific chemical to keep him angry, since he is not bound by human limits. He is Hulk limits, which is arguably limitless, or really is limitless. He's going to always be able to heal from whatever Doomsday throws at him. So, in my opinion, caveat, my opinion, Hulk wins this one. Let's move on. Alright, we have a comic vine there. Let's see what people have to say in the comic vine. Even after a while, though, I think Doomsday would still lose to the Hulk, because the Hulk could always infinitely increase the amount of force he's using to kill Doomsday. And then, by the time Doomsday gets anywhere threatening to Hulk, Bruce Banner, the biologist, could find out a way to stop Doomsday from coming back. Throw that in there for you as we're loading this page. Alright, this guy introduced, he says, this fight that takes place in the city streets of Los Angeles, California. Woot woot to those who are watching from Los Angeles. 12-round fight to the death. Hardcore melee combat, intense brutality, pure destruction and havoc. Who will be the deadliest warrior? I like this guy's choice of words in this. Alright, let's go ahead and keep on going down here, see what we have, what kind of arguments people are coming up with. Here's a pretty gruesome picture, brought to you in part by Doomsday. It's just kind of folding that man's head. That poor gentleman. Good Lord. Oh, so be it. Ah. Is he just a construction worker? That's unfortunate. Hey, alright honey, I'm going to work. I'm just going to go ahead and put some steel beams up in the new skyscraper. Little did he know, Doomsday. That sucks. What a way to die. That's unfortunate. Oh, and then there's my boy Hulk. You always rely on Deadpool for some comedic value. Alright, we have the first post by Higher Evolutionary. 6 years ago, 4 months ago. I think Doomsday, the first time we saw him in the Death of Superman arc, so he believes Doomsday would probably win. He could take 10-mile leaps, gets stronger the more he fights, overwhelming destructive capacity. So he was Hulk before the adaptable thing, they said. In short, he was DC's Hulk, but a much more evil one. So it is a stalemate. Oh, okay, so in the end he says stalemate. That's fine, I could go for that. In a lot of ways you could say they stalemate. I still believe they stalemate only because Doomsday will come back and then fight and be immune to how he died before. And I don't mean like he's completely immune to it. It's not like if he was killed by magic he'll come back and he's now completely immune to magic. That's not how his character works. It's more of like that level of force or whatever was applied to that method, he's immune to that now. So like when he was immune to Superman's heat vision, if Superman used a far stronger version of his heat vision, he probably would have killed Doomsday again, like in the Justice League Unlimited series. However, that's not what Superman did. By the time he realized that that degree of heat vision wasn't able to work on Doomsday, Doomsday had quickly, you know, grabbed him and stopped him from escalating any more force. But see, with Hulk, that's going to be a problem for this power because Hulk can consistently increase endlessly the amount of strength. So, say for instance, one day snaps Doomsday's head. Doomsday comes back. Guess what? He's going to snap it harder this time, and it's going to keep happening. And like I said before, Bruce Banner will just eventually find a way to stop him from regenerating. So, we're going to move on to the next post. Doomsday slaughters. This has been done numerous times before. Okay, this guy, he's just in here to give his opinion. That's cool. Do you believe Doomsday slaughters? I'm just going to flat out say you're wrong. Nobody in this competition is straight up slaughtering the other person. But I do believe that Doomsday he's not going to find anywhere in which he's going to be able to kill the Hulk. Especially right off the bat. No, it's not happening. Okay, moving on to the next one. 12-round fights to the death. Doomsday was already... You just go back up there, my friend. Can't see it. Doomsday was already beaten to death once by Superman, so Hulk can't beat him that way. Negative. I feel like I was just talking about this. Alright, well these people have posted these things a while back, so they weren't here to hear this from me. But even if we're taking Doomsday after he was just thralled by Superman, it doesn't matter. The Hulk will just get stronger than that. Like, if we're talking like Doomsday base after fighting Superman for whichever fight, because you gotta understand that the first time really he fought Superman, he wasn't beaten by raw strength. So when he fights the Hulk after that, it's not gonna be like, oh, I'm so used to this strength, it's not gonna be nothing to me. No, that's not how that works. So he's gonna fight Hulk. Hulk's gonna get stronger, beat the living tar out of him, possibly kill him, because who can blame the Hulk for killing someone when he's like that? And then Doomsday maybe will come back depending upon the amount of beating that he just took. And then it's going to happen again. There's no real way for Doomsday to kill him. Yeah, maybe he has the speed advantage, but that's not going to give him a killing blow. I don't know if you realize this. Who is this gentleman? It is Talix. But the Hulk's regenerative factor is intense. We're talking like the man got his stomach cut open by a vibranium sword, and then in the process of putting his intestines back in his stomach, the stomach healed over his hand. And his hand was stuck in his stomach because it healed that fast. He had to rip his hand out. So, even if you got like crazy amount of blitzing ability, you're not going to defeat the Hulk because he'll just regenerate just that fast pretty much. And let's be honest here, Doomsday is not intelligent. The intelligence factors automatically got to go to Hulk, especially depending upon which Hulk you're using. Let's go to the next comment.
Gotta move on.
Alright, moving on then. Alright, next up on Hulk versus, we have Hulk versus Superman. Woot woot. Alright, this one's going to be heated. And there's no fun way to answer this. There's people that will say like, hands down, Superman wins this. There's no way that Hulk stands even a chance. And I think those people just like Superman way too much to think about this critically. Yeah, Superman has his breath. He's got his heat vision. none of that's really gonna do anything to the Hulk though. Like, maybe in the off chance at Hulk's base form he could freeze him with his breath. But we all know how that song and dance is gonna end, because he's just gonna shatter out of it. He's gonna use his heat vision. Even at base form, I don't think that heat vision is gonna melt through his skin. And if he goes like Omega beams kind of thing, where he shatters an entire like army with his vision, and he does that specifically on the Hulk, perhaps it'll melt away his skin and his some of his muscle tissue, but he's just gonna come back from that, completely regenerate, and then kind of like what Doomsday does, he adapts to it, and his skin, his muscles become invulnerable to that measure of force, not completely immune to that type of attack. It's that measure of force. We need to get that straight. Measure of force. That is the important key here. So first off, we have an article on who would win in a fight between Superman and the Hulk. Oh, is this the same article by Kyle Hill?
No.
Oh, who is it by?
No. Quora.
Alright, I'm just going to read this a little bit and then we're going to move on from here. Ordinarily, I would call this fight for Superman, as eventually he would realize that Hulk just gets more powerful the more angry he gets, and back off until he calms down. This is the only rational way to beat the Hulk under normal circumstances. You defeat his anger. Now, that sounds reasonable, obviously. I mean, growing up, as we learn about the Hulk, even when he was started, that's kind of his shtick. He's just, I'm angry, now I'm strong, now I'm angrier, now I'm stronger. But not everything about the Hulk deals with his anger. It could be any form of emotional stress on his body. That's why sometimes, to keep himself going, he inflicts harm upon himself. Like in, I believe his last name is Aaron, the author Aaron. When he took a hold of the Hulk comics and he started writing them out, he had a scene specifically where the Hulk was trying to maintain his form instead of switching back into Banner, and he happened to have the Punisher nearby, so he told the Punisher, shoot me in the face. Shoot me in the face. And the Punisher's like, fine, bang, 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 bang. And he had 7 bullets, like, crammed against his face. And he didn't do that to piss him off. He did that to stay in the Hulk stage, so he can keep that adrenaline going, that emotion going, whatever sort of harm that begets to keep this form going. It's not always anger. Anger is just a method. It's like the most well-known method. But it's not going to be the only thing. You can't just be like, alright Hulk, you're not angry anymore, therefore you turn back, because there have been several instances where he's just been a normal character walking around with just a little steady bit of emotion to keep him going. That's literally what Planet Hulk, World War Hulk, all of it sums down to. He was able to stay in the Hulk form for a very, very long time because of this. Alright, continuing on. Let's see what other people have to say. Oh, This is the one that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Alright, so Kyle Hill from the Nerdist wrote an article, and that's a beautiful picture. I do like that picture. Alright, let's do a little bit of scrolling. Because we read this before, so I can give a bit of a summary. You can just stay on the picture. Maybe we don't need to go into the article. But Kyle talks about how Superman has these limiters in his head that he's able to very easily open up so he can go to his full strength. Kind of like if you ever watch Naruto, he describes it as like kind of like the 8 gates of the body, the different chakra modules. For him, it's in the mind. He can just open up this limiter and he becomes stronger, and then he'll open up another one and become even stronger. And he says that by the rate at which Superman can exponentially become stronger than the Hulk does, he can eventually reach a point where he's so much stronger that the Hulk's, even with his regenerative factors or his ever-increasing strength, is just not fast enough to keep pace with Superman's. And he also brings in the fact that Superman will use his logical thinking skills to bring Hulk up into space, where he'll have a greater advantage since he can fly and the Hulk can't. And that, that honestly makes a lot of sense. There's not a whole lot the Hulk can do up in space other than maybe do a gamma burst from his body, which he may be able to use to propel himself, but it's not something he's going to think about, depending, because Kyle was talking about perhaps your average base Hulk, perhaps maybe getting stronger, as he insinuated with the different levels of strength buildup. and maybe even Savage Hulk, which is fine, but he never talks about any of the more intelligent Hulks, which, let's be honest, the intelligent Hulks aren't necessarily as strong, maybe not stand a chance, unless we talk about the fight between Superman and Hulk in the DC vs. Marvel comic series, in which they had Superman did in fact beat Hulk, but it was a Bruce Banner controlled sort of human Hulk, and Superman does quote say that it took all his strength to defeat that version of Hulk. Now if we involve that, then I kind of have to hands down give it to Hulk, because that's not a superpowered Hulk at all, and it took all of Superman's strength to defeat that. I gotta instantly give it to Hulk. But if we take that and we move it aside and say that was just a weird red sheep of the herd, then we can go on and have some discussions about how maybe World War Hulk or World Breaker Hulk or Heart of the Beast from Greg Pax, that was an amazing Hulk. If we had that, Hulk at his comic book limit, has his shown appearance limit, versus Superman, perhaps we're going to have a better discussion here. We can talk about how both characters have seemingly immeasurable strength. Hulk will have his intelligence. Obviously, he can caveat with that the intelligence of Bruce Banner, who I would believe, yeah, honestly, is smarter than Superman. Not necessarily in a combat sense, but he is definitely a smarter individual. And then we have Superman, who is smart for even the Kryptonian race. Also, he has an easier time learning things, at least biologically speaking. He has an easier time learning information or taking it in. As fighters, though, it's really just going to come down to a brawl, because there's no real tactic that Superman can implement that will give him an advantage other than saying like, hey, here's the Phantom Force, and then Hulk goes bye-bye. I mean, that kind of fight will just be like, well, that was lame, and he didn't even fight him. Alright, so we'll take that and we're going to move on from there and see who's next on the list. I believe it was Hulk versus Wolverine, but I could be wrong. Space versus Wolverine. There we go. Alright, cool. We're going to end this video with one more fight. We got Hulk versus Wolverine. Alright, so thoughts and opinions about Hulk versus Wolverine. Really, there's no other person in the Marvel landscape who has kind of just more experience at fighting the Hulk than Wolverine does. And there's an obvious reason for that. He's got regenerative powers, pretty decent ones, I might add at that. And so who else is going to go toe-to-toe with Hulk that often and not die? It's Wolverine. It's who else? Let's be honest. However, in terms of a fight, I'm pretty confident in saying outright that Hulk would probably beat Wolverine. Wolverine can do his best, cut through him all he wants, but unless Wolverine like decapitates Bruce Banner before he gets any real momentum going, there's no way really Wolverine's going to defeat the Hulk. Yeah, we can throw him at him several times and keep testing the Hulk out with Wolverine, but Wolverine's never going to ultimately stand on top. Alright, now let's get into the nitty-gritty part of this and see what the internet has to say. Marvel, has Wolverine ever beaten the Hulk in a fight? Science, ... Sci-fi stackexchange.com. Did I read that right? Or does it say stock exchange?
Stack.
Stack exchange. Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk. Is that a movie? Or is it a comic?
That's a movie. They actually came out with it. It's good. Watched it. Recommend it.
Has Wolverine ever beaten the Hulk in a fight? Wolverine and Hulk are two Marvel characters that have incredible powers of healing recovery, making them extremely difficult, potentially impossible to kill. In addition, both of them have superhuman levels of strength and power. You can't really put them on the same playing field here, though. Perhaps you can say that their healing factors are maybe on the same playing field, but their strength, don't even. Try me on this. Hulk, levels of strength and power. Hulk, because of his anger-based strength, we talked about this, it's not anger-based. And Wolverine, because of his adamantium-enhanced bones. That doesn't make you stronger. That makes you more durable, and you can take more physical force. That doesn't make you stronger. Wolverine can't. If anything, that makes you weaker because that means your bones have to, your muscles have to lift adamantium bones. I'm surprised that like after this transformation, when he got the adamantium skeleton, Wolverine wasn't just like, I can't move. Or like every single movement was like, I can't even get out of bed. Nope, I'm staying here. Because adamantium is heavy. It's a metal after all, and his bones are made of it now, or at least coated in it, I should say. So that doesn't make him stronger. Continuing on, have these two characters ever faced off against one another? In particular, has there ever been a situation where Wolverine was able to defeat the Hulk, kill, subdue, or otherwise incapacitate him? I'm going to say no. Without any outside help, I firmly believe, Wolverine has never won. Now, I can understand if he has saying like, oh, he had like the power cosmic Spider-Man, the power cosmic, or some other little caveat that's like, hey, I was able to defeat him because of yada yada yada. Or some writer just decided, hey, let's not play the Hulk to his true potential because they want to use him to show how powerful like a villain is, or they wanted to show how strong Wolverine was. Anyways, let's just go a quick scroll through the 5 answers perhaps, and we're going to bring this video to an end. Alright, well, as per Marvel's Ultimate Wolverine vs. Hulk comic book series, when Wolverine is hired to kill Hulk, who is in Tibet, Hulk tears Wolverine in half. Yes! I'm glad someone brought this one up, because it is hilarious. It sucked for Wolverine, I have to admit. That guy probably hated life trying to find his body while crawling through Tibetan snow. Yeah, that sucks. Even with this amount of huge physical damage, Wolverine is still alive and using his keen senses to find his missing body parts. He does so by sniffing it out.
Well, Wolverine took a stroll in the forest to go find himself. Needed a little me time.
A soul-searching experience.
Yeah.
Alright, let's continue on.
Oh. Sorry.
Wow, it's intense stuff. I haven't actually seen this in a while. It's been a while since I've read this one. This series also shows the arrival of She-Hulk. Alright, we don't care about She-Hulk right now. Is there a comic section down below that? Let's see what those people have to say. Who cares about Old Man Logan? He's not going to win anything. Show the famous Wolverine and Hulk battle in the Incredible Hulk is shown. Doesn't seem like anybody here in the comic section is actually like, Wolverine for days, yo! What? No, stay on that page. I think it's showing Wolverine standing over the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what caveat happened here. He's dead. I did it. I beat the Hulk. Later, the authorities would arrive to dispose of the unconscious Wendigo and the Emerald. Can't really read that last word. I don't know the story behind this one, though I wish I did.
This is that movie that I was telling you about. The movie was an adaptation of the comic book. So Wolverine gets contracted by S.H.I.E.L.D. to go in and fight the Hulk, and it turns out that the Hulk, when he was Bruce Banner, developed a mutation serum that was supposed to subdue what was known as a Wendigo, but instead wound up inciting the Wendigo, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. tried to use it to weaponize more super soldiers, turn them all into Wendigos, and they destroyed villages, and then the Wolverine ticked off the Hulk to make him fight the Wendigos, and the Hulk and Wolverine had to fight each other.
So did Wolverine actually kill Hulk in this slide that's being shown here?
Not in the movie. I didn't read the comic, but I don't believe he actually did. I think he just knocked him out with his metal head.
I beat him. Well, you know what? So be it. Perhaps I'll give this one to Wolverine. In the grand scheme of things, though, honestly, guys, I'd say that Hulk would beat Wolverine. Alright, so that's it for Hulk versus. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Ken, on another YMS versus the Internet. As always, go ahead and like and subscribe, and if you want some more notifications, go ahead and hit that bell. And then leave your comments in the comment section below. I will always be able to read them, and I will reply to you guys, giving my input on your thoughts and opinions. And we'll probably share some information and make some bright ideas. As for until then, I'll see you guys next time on YMS versus the Internet. Your move, Internet.